welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we'll be learning about data type. What is data type? So, a data type describes the kind of data you are storing in the computer memory. We have different form of data. They can be text, they can be number, they can be volume or objects. And in JavaScript, we have two type of data type. We have the primitive data type and the reference data type. So for the primitive data type, it enables us to store single value, not object. So in the course of this JavaScript, we'll be learning about the other type of data type, the reference data type. But for this video, we'll be learning starting from the foundation, the basic one that are very important. We'll be learning about string, we'll be learning about number, we'll be learning about boolean, we'll be learning about null, undefined. And mind, in the previous video we have discussed about some of these data type. So we'll be learning basically string, number, boolean, null, and undefined, right? So these other two, we will, like you see, we will not be learning them because they are not relevant for our study now. So remember, how do we declare a variable? To declare a variable, we can use let. So name, let me give it an identifier called name, and I will assign it a value of developer. developer. So this is a string. Why is it a string? So any value that is provided inside a single or a double quotation mark. This is a single quotation mark or a double quotation mark are a string. So the computer will interpret them as string. So all these ones are interpreted as a string. They can be characters, right? So num, let me just use this one, num. I've initialized this as num, and let me provide it a value of 100. So these ones are, this one is actually a number. Number is very obvious, number. So boolean are are either false or true, right? Boolean are either false or true. Let me initialize it. I can use a let. Let is valid, is valid age equals true. This is actually a good example of a boolean, either true or false. So let's put this into practice. Let us put it into practice using our terminal. We have our terminal open down here. So let me console the value of name. So in JavaScript, we have a method called typeof. Typeof will actually tell us the type of string, the data type of the string, of the data type of the identifier. So this is an identifier. In order for, we are storing something. This is actually a variable name. So name is storing a value, and the value that name is storing is developer. While number is also, num is also storing a value, and the value is storing is a number, and the number is 100. So there is method called typeof. Open. This is a method. Then you provide the identifier. Let's put name. All right. So if you put name, okay, we can't use this word. Let's name one. Let me just use name one. Good. name1. Good. So that we can easily identify it. The data type of num is this. You can do the same thing. Let's copy it. The data type of name1, right? I just use name1. You put a comma to differentiate it. Comma is important. Put a comma. Good. So we've done this. So let's also copy this again and paste it here and make a little adjustment for the third one, which is valid. Is valid age. So let's change this to is valid age. Good. Why this should be name1? Why this one should be num? So let's see. Remember I said this is a boolean. Boolean. So once we run the code, node, then the name of the file. We've already run it and we can see the displayed outputs. The display outputs. You can see it here. When we run the command, it's saying that the data type of num is number, the data type of name1 is a string, the data type of is valid is a boolean. So this is actually a method inside JavaScript that enables us to know the data type, right? So we've talked about this. So let's proceed further and learn about null, right? What is null? So null is an empty string. Should we call it an empty string? No, an empty object, none. That means that it's meant to return something, but it's returning an empty object. So, for example, I can provide a value. Let me say, let, which name should I use? Let box equals null. That means it should be an empty object. It should be empty. That is what I just said here. So I will con- I will just put box here. No, I don't. Should I? Okay, let's see. There's nothing bad in trying. Remember, I said get your hands dirty. Box or box. For these ones, I want to comment them out. Can comment them out like this. Control and forward slash. We comment them out, so it won't read at all. So apart from this, let's just see what is going to show here. It's telling us that the data type is an object. It's actually an object, but is an empty object. Like what I said is an empty object. So what if we want to know the content? What is inside it? Inside the box? So console to prove that it's empty, that there is no value attached to it. Just a control dot log the box Let's run it again. You can use your arrow key. When you run it, you can see that it's showing null. That means that there is nothing inside. Finally, let's learn about undefined. What is undefined? So supposing you initialize a variable, let, let us make use of let. The reason why I'm using let is that I have the I am not creating a value that cannot be changed. That's why I can as well have used const. Okay, let me just use const. Const mm, const money. I've already initialized it money, and I didn't provide any value for it. Right? Is this meant to work? I don't want to use money. Let me see. Let me just use another name. I could have as well have used money, and I do like this, but you cannot do this like this because you should have provide a value for this. Money should be something 1000, right? So you've already initialized that money is something that's and that is the state, it can't change. But now I just want to initialize something without providing a value for it. So I have to use a let money money bank money bag. Let me just use money bag. Already initial. Why is it giving me all these things? It didn't want me, but I think there's something similar. Let me just put bag. Oh, VS Codes have actually updated some of their apps, so it's picking all these. Let me just look for a good convention name to give it, or let me. I will make use of number of students. I just initialize it without providing a value, and now I want to know the content of number of students. You will see what is going to give me console.log, then the number of students. So if I come here, this is my terminal, and run it and run the script, you can see it will show me undefined. Why is it showing me undefined? Let me consider, let me run it again. Why is it showing me undefined? Because I have not yet assigned any value to it. That's why it's showing me undefined. But if I change it to 1, right? Change it to 1, what is it going to show me? It will provide me the value of 1. Good. It's telling me that it has provided me a value of 1, and that is what I want. Now, supposing I added it as like this, this is no longer 1, this is actually a string. Now, to confirm this, I will do type of, this is a method, type of, then open the brackets to see what is going to show me. So it's already a string. You can see that this is actually a string. So if I remove this comma, this quotation mark, and try it again, you'll discover that it's now a number. So it's very important because we can make arithmetics or calculation on number, but on string you cannot type times Daniel or Victor times Victor. It won't work. So it's very important for us to tell the computer what information we are passing. Is it a boolean? Is it an object? Is it a string? Or is it a number? So finally, I can just make a calculation with this. I can even make some mathematics calculation. I can assign another different variable. I can even call it const mass. No, let me just total total is equals to num, because num now it knows that this num is holding number of students holding a value of 1 times 2. If I say times 2, then I don't need to put the type of, we already know that it is actually a number, so I can just as well as just remove it like this and run it, so we'll see what the outcome will be. So we said let's, so okay, good, so we have to change it to total here, because now total, good. So let's run it again. Good, we find it now as 3 times 1, so we can see that we can make calculation, because now this name is holding a value of this. So when you see this name, it is holding a value, so it's a value that we are multiplying. We can even make division on it, and it will still give us the answer, because now this is not a string, right? This is a number. So let me make this as a string. I remember when I say I want to make it as a string, I'll just put the either the single or the double quotation. Is it possible? Because now it's no longer a number. Remember, calculation can only be made on number data type that are actually a figure or the integer or numbers, right? But on a string like this is a string. This is not long. This is not one. This is a string. So the computer understands this as a string. Now, if I run this code, it's going to crash my system. I don't think it's going to work. It will just bring out error. So this is okay. I attach this one as a string, right? So total. Why is it still showing this? I've assigned it to a value of 1, and 1 is meant to be a string. Why is it interpreting it? Good. It still took it as number. So let me change this to Victor. Okay, because we are dividing it, automatically it will convert it. Yeah. So there are some things that goes behind the player. Because you divide it by a number, automatically it will convert it, because it's for example, okay, let's just do this. I'll still explain that. No, good. So it's not going to work at all. So it's not possible. So this is actually a string, right? This is a string, right? So let's do something like this. Type of, right? So we've established the fact that this is a string. So I don't need to do this total now. So once I do something like this, see what will happen. Once I multiply by 1, and let's check the type of. Let's see if it's still a string or it has been converted to number. You can see it has been converted to number, right? But without me doing this, it's still a string. So there's a way we can convert string to, like, all these how do I put it now? When we go further in the course, like when we learn on Node.js, like when you want to retrieve information that the user inputs, because most times when some information are gotten from the URL, like you provide a number, it's actually save as a string. So you now need the process of converting it. So if you use times one on, so we will learn that further. So this will be all on this course. This is just the beginning. I don't want to bore you with more advanced term. So please, if you find this video educative,